There was another big update for the Hurt Business reunion, so we'll see what that's about. We'll also check out what's new for Alexa Bliss, Cody Rhodes, and much more. Let's start things off with the latest Hurt Business teaser. This all started with Bobby Lashley's ruthless change in attitude. After suffering what you could argue was a fluke loss to Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley set himself into this new brutal gear of tearing up anything that was in his path. Regardless if you were a heel or babyface, Bobby Lashley treated everyone the same and was just destroying everyone he came across. But when Bobby Lashley started putting his hands on WWE officials, that's when things started to go over the line. Lashley was even fired by Adam Pearce during one of the late December 2022 editions of Raw. But the decision was reversed. Lashley was still employed by WWE, but hasn't been seen on television since that moment of his firing. So it's safe to assume that Adam Pearce most likely has Bobby Lashley out of action on some type of suspension for his recent actions. But that's when MVP popped back up and wanted to speak with Adam Pearce about Bobby Lashley's status. That's the only thing we heard MVP mention to Adam Pearce, but there's a lot you can read into there and speculate about with that line by MVP. It sounded like MVP was looking to speak on Bobby Lashley's behalf and working something out with Adam Pearce in order to get whatever punishment Lashley is dealing with lifted. That was a few weeks ago, and there wasn't many updates to that story due to the 2022 recap of Raw. But the storyline picked back up on the January 2nd edition of Monday Night Raw, but in a subtle background way. The background storyline progression is something that we've been seeing heavily used ever since the start of Triple H's regime. We've seen things like Nikki Cross and Doudrop split up during the background of another segment. We've seen Bray Wyatt talk to Howdy in the background, and even Dexter's first arrival on Raw all took place in the background of other segments. It's become a genius way of keeping multiple stories progressing at once. And it also keeps the viewers on edge of their seats looking everywhere on the screen for those little background moments. Well, a background moment is how the Hurt Business reunion storyline continued on Raw. While the camera was focused on Bayley and Damage Control walking to the ring, the very important thing to notice of what was going on in the top left corner of the screen, MVP was once again talking to Adam Pearce, but this time he had Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander with him. Of course, we weren't able to hear what was being said in this conversation since it was happening deep in the background, but they still gave us a lot to go by and speculate about. The fact that MVP was standing with Cedric and Shelton while obviously talking about Bobby Lashley, well, that pretty much tells us all we need to know. We can't hear the conversation, but it's clear as day that the point of showing them was to continue to hint at the reunion of the Hurt Business. We saw 3 of the 4 members right there, so at that point, whatever they're saying doesn't really matter because everyone has a pretty good grasp on the topic at hand. So they continued that story in the background this week, so it's highly possible that we'll see another segment in the coming weeks between the Hurt Business and Adam Pearce, where we'll be able to hear what's being said. Maybe MVP is asking for Bobby Lashley to be fully reinstated, and how he'll make sure he stays in line with the Hurt Business. Obviously, Bobby Lashley has to return eventually, so there's a very good chance that MVP will get what he wants and Lashley will make his full-time return to Raw. And with Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin already standing behind MVP, it looks like the only one the group is waiting for is Bobby Lashley. The second Bobby Lashley comes back, and if he agrees to rejoin MVP in the Hurt Business, that'll be when we get our full reunion of the Hurt Business. What's unknown is Omos's status within the Hurt Business. MVP and Omos never really had a split up on WWE television. So unless they ended their partnership off-screen, MVP should still be representing Omos. So will Omos be the new addition to the Hurt Business that really puts them over the top? Or is Omos just quietly being split up from MVP? If Omos was to join the Hurt Business, it will really be a scary addition to the group. You would have MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, and Omos. That looks like a very decent team that could even give the Bloodline a run for their money. So there's a lot of buzz for this reunion of the Hurt Business. It'll be a storyline to pay close attention to on Raw in the following weeks. WWE has officially started to build up and tease for Cody Rhodes' return to Raw. Cody Rhodes is fully healthy and recovered from a torn pec that he suffered way back in early summer 2022. Now it just comes down to how exactly WWE will bring him back to television. Cody Rhodes appeared on the 2022 recap edition of Raw to talk about Seth Rollins and his desire to win the WWE title in 2023. Well, that was followed up by a new return vignette package that aired on the January 2nd edition of Raw. The clip took a look back at Cody Rhodes' return to WWE and everything that happened there with that massive return. It looks like these Cody Rhodes vignettes will be a reoccurring thing on Raw for the next few weeks. It's quite obvious that these clips are meant to build up hype for Cody's imminent return to WWE. No one knows the exact date of Cody Rhodes' return, but everyone assumes it'll be during the Royal Rumble match itself. So maybe that's why WWE is trying to freshen up everyone's mind on Cody Rhodes and his journey, because he could be making a very impactful return in the near future. Especially if he's going to be one of the favorites to win the Royal Rumble match. It's very important to get everyone caught up and up to date with Cody again. So look for that big return at Royal Rumble, or even sometime in the coming weeks. Cody Rhodes' name was also in the news this week for another report about a scrapped WrestleMania 39 idea. Reports claim that at one point, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena was being discussed for WrestleMania 39. That's no longer the plan and no longer an option, but it was something that was being discussed as a possibility during the early talks for WrestleMania 39. Cody Rhodes is still rumored to have a big match at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are on the short list for possible WrestleMania 39 opponents for Cody Rhodes. So if he faces either of them at WrestleMania 39, it should be huge for Cody Rhodes either way. Alexa Bliss recently had her title match on Raw, and this was a spot where everyone expected something big to happen with her Bray Wyatt transition. We didn't get a massive payoff, but we did get a little something. Alexa was looking good in the match until she ran into someone wearing an Uncle Howdy mask right behind the commentary table. Alexa was able to regain herself, but then she saw another Uncle Howdy mask at ringside. There was even a fan sign just a few seats over from the Howdy mask that read, "He's coming for you." Alexa Bliss bugs out. The Wyatt logo flashes on the screen, and Alexa loses it and attacks the referee, causing a massive disqualification. Alexa brutally takes out Bianca Belair after the match, and it looks like we can classify this as Alexa's full heel turn. Alexa said that she didn't lose control, she gained it, and said that she's still coming after Bianca Belair's title. So the other big question has been, who will Alexa side with, Uncle Howdy or Bray Wyatt? Well, considering Alexa Bliss just turned heel and was triggered by Howdy masks, it looks like Alexa may side with Howdy, but only time will tell. What are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.